Hey guys, hope you're all well. Okay, it's Monday morning. I've sort of got my week set out for the jobs I'm going to do, but first I thought I'd do a little bit of a video on this Honda. That one there on my shoulder. It is like the weight of the world on my shoulders with that thing at the minute. We'll go through some stuff. Anyway, I've had a few people ask about it, if I do a video on it, so here we go. In fact, I might do one little job on it in this video actually. I've got a thing to do with a mirror. Anyway, we'll get to that. I might do it, might not. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, this Honda. Yeah. Call it a love-hate relationship, or could you call it a hate-hate relationship? I don't know at the minute. I'm at a bit of a loss with this bike. Get a Honda, they said. They're brilliant. Get a Honda. You'll love it. Should have kept my 22-year-old KTM. That's what I should have done. Anyway, I'm sure they're all not like it. I'm sure they're all not the same. I have had problem after problem after problem after problem with this bike. It has, to be honest, been a nightmare. I sort of knew a bit of this when I got it because I got it cheap and I knew it wasn't brilliant, but I didn't realise it was so bad. But hey-oh, this sometimes happens. So we have had a weekend of head scratching, bashing my head up the wall, trying to solve issues with this Honda. So let me start from the beginning. Obviously, I got this. I've done a fair bit of work in the background. I didn't video none of that. To be honest, I didn't think anybody would be interested, but maybe some of you aren't, I don't know. But hey, we'll try and cover a few subjects, different subjects on the channel. As I said, I'm going to try and do some of the behind the scenes stuff anyway. So yeah, I've had it a while. Over time, I've been slowly putting it right. I had my first sort of green lane outing on it a while ago. To be fair, it behaved okay. I had a couple of times where it was a bit of a pain to start, but that's normal when you've been through water, deep water and things like that. That can be sort of normal, but nothing bad, nothing unusual. Had a little bit of a sort of backfiring on overrun when you switch the throttle off. I sort of put that down to the exhaust. Second time I went out on it, first time there was 7 of us. Second time we went out, it was just me and Mick. Yeah, it started backfiring a lot on overrun. So we had some tools on us, as you do. You carry tools with you when you're going out into the middle of nowhere. We'd done a little bit of a strip down in a field and found one of the inlet clips were loose. Tightened that up, completely got rid of the backfiring. So, you know, when it was happening, we guessed an air leak, and that's what it was. So we got that sorted. The bike was going fine for a while, and then it really started playing up bad, really bad, kicking it and 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 so on and so on. And eventually it weren't having none of it. And it broke down in the worst place possible, as it would, in the middle of nowhere, in the wettest part of the lane.
Oh, it's gone again! You gotta be kidding me!
So, the recovery mission started. 2 old men dragging a dead Honda out the countryside. We was quite far away from the tarmac, and when we got to the tarmac, we was 19 miles away from the van. So, I had to jump on my mate's bike because he's not insured in the van. Luckily, we plotted where the van was, as you do. And he's got his little Garmin on his handlebars on his bike, so we put the van location in that. I then started going up the road and his Garmin stopped working. Well, not stopped working, the route just went off it, and I hadn't got a clue how to work this thing, no idea. So luckily I'd put a pin in my phone. I know this is really, really naughty and wrong, I know, yeah, normally it's very frowned upon, and normally I would not entertain doing it. I ended up riding one-handed, holding my phone with the directions to get to my van. Yeah, slap me on the wrist, tell me off. I know that's really, really bad. I tried wedging the phone in places, but where'd you wedge your phone on one of these? Because he's got a CRF as well. Anyway, I'll take that on the chin that it was a really bad thing to do, but it was the only way to find my van. Got to the van. Oh, on the way there, after his sat-nav decided to stop working, a wasp decided to go down my top and sting me. At this stage you're starting to think, come on, what else? I then got to the van because I'd been kicking this bike to death in the country lanes, then having to push it for God knows how long to get it to the nearest road. I was blowing a bit, so I'd had all my drink, and I knew I had a drink in the van. So when I got to the van, I just went straight to that drink, glug, 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 and nearly choked to death on another wasp that decided to have a little swim in my drink. So yeah, it was a great day. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, after that, obviously we got it back here because the damn thing sat there, and we started investigating the problems. And as you do, you take a look online, see if anyone else is experiencing similar problems and see what the outcome were. But people seem to report all these problems of it not starting, bad starting when it's warm, bad starting when it's cold, and so on and so on and so on. And then the threads just stop. You can't see the outcome. It's like they just got bored of typing or something. Anyway, I went through all the fuel side of this bike. This bike is fuel injected. So I went through everything, throttle bodies off, the lot, cleaned everything. This has had a new air filter in, it's had a new spark plug. I pulled the injector out and took the number off it, and yeah, it was not related to this bike whatsoever. Thought, right, okay, I'll take the plunge and get an injector. So I'd done that, and the bike was starting fine. It was starting fine, and it was running great. Okay, maybe that's the problem. So I went for a bit of a test run on it, and it started playing up again. Well, I will say it's the best the bike's ever run after changing that injector. Obviously it's fueling it correctly because it is the correct one for the bike, so it needed doing anyway, in my opinion. But so that's something ticked off the list. I know it's, you know, it's not going to need one of them for a while. Anyway, it started again. As soon as this bike seems to get up into running temperature, and it's been there for a while you're riding it, and you stop, and it's an absolute nuisance to start. It really is. I've checked the valves, by the way. I know if anybody knows these bikes, they're going to go, it's your valves. They're all in spec. That's been done. So I know it's not that. What else? I went through every single plug, through the whole wiring harness, pulling the plugs, making sure it's clean. I actually added a tiny bit of silicone grease in case, you know, any water did get into it. It gives them a bit of a chance. Went through every single plug on the bike and inspected, checked and cleaned and greased. So it wasn't that. And I seen a few people saying about the stators on these bikes. So I had the stator out of it. I don't know, where is it? Let's have a look at it. And then I was trying to find the information on the home readings on it. Hooms that nobody understands. Electrics are not my strong point, to be honest. So I don't enjoy doing them. I always get through, but I don't enjoy doing them. Anyway, it was testing okay. But then I'd heard stories of people saying theirs had tested okay. But obviously, when these things get hot and stuff like that, things can change. So I found a second-hand one on eBay. I messaged the guy, he guaranteed me it'd come off a fully working bike till the crank decided to let go on his bike, so he's basically breaking his bike and selling all the parts. So I got that off him at a very reasonable cost. I had three choices for that. It was an original second-hand one, a terrible copy one from a certain area of the world, or 300 odd quid on an OEM Honda one. The £300 one out the window. Can't do that. It can't happen. Not a chance. Like everything else, you try and do it on a budget. So that weren't happening. So I've gone for the second-hand one. That's now in. On inspecting the one that came out of it, I don't know if you'll see that. You get it in the light. It looked very discoloured, especially on these, especially that one, and 1, 2, 3 others look very discoloured, burning. Well, that's not a good sign. So we've changed it. We've got that second-hand one in, which didn't look burnt or nothing. He absolutely assured me the bike was absolutely fine. It ran great till his crank went on it. So we've got that in. I had a problem with the water pump. The water pump was dumping coolant into the gearbox. I bought a kit for that. That's another story. To tell you, this weekend's just been mind-boggling, very stressful, and very frustrating. Anyway, let's go back. I attacked the water pump side of things first. Got all that in. The kit arrived. I put all that in. Didn't think about that again. I thought, right, that's that all sorted. That's ticked off the list. I shouldn't have a problem with that. Anyway, we got the stator in, got all that back together. Bike still won't start. Well, it was trying. It literally run for like a second, bang, die again. It would not start and stay running. Oh, by this point, you can imagine I've gone through the water pump, I've had the other side casing off, I've done the stator, blah, 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 blah. This is hours and hours of work over the weekend. Still couldn't get it started. Yeah, patience is going down the drain, as you can imagine. And we've done a little test on it. So on these, obviously around the other side, you got the stator, then you've got a condenser which sort of stores power, then obviously you got the rec and the ECU because it is fuel injected and all that. And it was like, now it's getting no power or insufficient power. So we've done the stator, the guy guarantees that's fine. The next in line is that capacitor, condenser, whatever you want to call it. So we bypassed that with 12-volt battery to test the bike. Unplug the condenser. We unplug that and give it a 12-volt feed. The bike fires straight up and runs a treat. So after all that, it's a good chance it's that condenser. So I have a condenser on the way. And the other thing after that could be the rec. I have a rec on the way. So I've got everything crossed for this week that this bike's going to be fixed. Because it's killing me. I've got to say, it is killing me. Because I want it up and running. I want to get out. This bike over the winter, and I'm sure a lot of you are like it, my head can go down the drain. I don't know why, winter blues or whatever. And something like this is a massive help with all that. Just to have like little dates set where you're going out with your pals on bikes gives you something to look forward to, and it's great for us crazy people. I hope everyone's doing all right this time of year anyway. I know a lot of you guys suffer with your heads, and I really do hope you're all doing okay, because this is weird. This time of year can send a lot of people down the drain, and it can be quite difficult. So shout out to people if you're struggling. That's all I can say. Message me, whatever. We'll talk crazy things. but it can be quite difficult time of year for people, this can. But anyway, so hopefully when these parts come, we'll have a bike that we can use, because if when I put them other bits on and it does not work, I'm at a loss. Like I say, you put a 12 volt feed to the bike and it runs sweet, which sort of points at that condenser, because like I say, that takes energy from the stator, it stores energy to run the bike, because this bike does not have a battery. So it's as you probably know, it's an out and out motocross bike. This is, it's not the 450X, it's the 450R. So I think when the parts come, I will share the job. Did I tell you about the water pump? Yeah, that's no good. The water pump's even had it. The new water pump bearings. No, the bearing's fine. The inner seal's fine. The outer seal detonated itself when we started the bike up. So all that's been off again. I've just messaged the bloke that I got it off. I've seen in his listing it has a mechanical bearing on the outside. I'll show you in a minute. In his listing, it's a totally different looking bearing to what he sent me. So yes, when it started, within a few seconds it immediately started pouring oil out the weep hole. Oh, did I tell you about the weep hole? Somebody had rammed a self-tapper screw in that. It's getting close to having a Viking burial, this bike. Very close. Half a gallon of petrol and a box of matches. Oh dear. Oh yeah, it's been challenging, I've got to say that. Yeah, so with the water pump, when that started leaking, when I first initially stripped that out, the outer bearing weren't even pressed into the casing properly. It was just floating around. So what we done, when the new bearing decided to detonate itself, which is sat here, now in two pieces, which it shouldn't be, and after being able to see inside it now, it really does look like a, well, extremely poor quality. It's not good. So that's a mechanical bearing. That's got to be able to move and do what it needs to do to keep the water sealed, to stop it dripping out the weep hole. But this is all rock hard plastic, that nasty rock hard brittle plastic, and it's just failed. Terrible thing. Anyway, what we decided to do, because we was really clutching at straws at this point, is try the bearing, the seal, sorry, that came out of it, because that was just floating around in there. For maybe that's why it was leaking initially. It's just come out of place and it's floating around. So we then fitted it properly, but no, it's still leaking. So a new mechanical seal's on the way as well. And if none of this works, I'm that close to giving up. But that close just to giving up. Totally. I don't know what else to do. This bike has been bonkers, absolute bonkers, with the trouble it's caused, and yeah, a little bit of stress and sleepless nights thinking about it and stuff like that. See that bucket there, that's for when I cut it into 1/2 inch pieces and fit it all into that bucket. Or it might be there because it's just constantly leaking. But I reckon, I'm sure actually, I could actually fit that bike into that bucket with the grinder and the plasma cutter. That might be a challenge if it doesn't behave itself this week. Anyway, there's the story so far. What I'll do, I'll pick it up from here and share the jobs, the road to glory of getting the bike running. I hope. But so when them parts come, I will start sharing little jobs on this to see if we solve this major problem that it's got. In the meantime, I am going to do a little job on it. Why not? So, the mirror. I'm going to put a little tiny mirror on it. With the nature of this bike and what we do on them, mirrors are not normally a very good idea. Some bar end ones, they ain't going to last long. They're gone on your first crash, or as soon as you're brushing through all the trees and all that, which you often do on these. You know, the terrain that we go through can be quite brutal. So I'm going to do a little inboard mirror. Gertrude's got one on his bike. Without sounding tight, they're 30 quid for a little tiny round mirror. 30 quid for that? You know what? I've got an idea. So what I've done, let's get this. I got this off eBay, and it's adjustable. Gertrude's ain't adjustable. His £30 mirror is not adjustable. My £3.50 one is. £3.50. So yeah, that's basically what you'd stick on the door mirror on your car so you can see blind spots. So I got that, and I'm going to make a little holder for that bolts to something on my handlebars. And if I've managed to pull that off without... Okay, before we get started on the little mirror job, I'll show you Gertrude's. There's just nothing to it. So there we go. Hello. Yeah, that is it. And it basically cable ties to the handlebars. He needs to tighten that up. So 30 quid. That's insane. It's just a piece of plastic. I thought, nah, this bike's destroyed me already. You know, from selling the KTM, the little bit of a budget I had to buy and sort this bike out is just crucified. So I'm not doing it. £3.50. We'll go with £3.50 and make a bracket. Like I say, we got that. That will adjust in every direction. And for £3.50, we'll take the risk and see if we can do something that works. Okay, I've got a couple of bits together. We've got the clamp off, got the mirror, bit of 3mm alloy, 2 little spacers and 2 longer bolts. Let's draw around the mirror first. Go down that bit. Like I say, I could do it the same width as this clamp here, but I think that's going to be a bit weak. So we're going to come down here into the circle, probably do a bit of shaping over here, then bring that further down here into the circle. So we've got a nice chunk of material there that hopefully will give us less vibration and wobble, which is, to be honest, probably sort of impossible on this bike. In fact, it don't run, so it shouldn't wobble at all. Right, let's draw that out properly. Right, somewhat roughly sketched out. I decided not to go quite as wide, so I'm just going to basically hack that out with the grinder somewhere close to the lines. Then I'm going to dress them up with probably the belt grinder to get it all nice and neat. Okay, we have a terrible looking bracket. Oh, and a dog. Hello, mate. Where you come from? If by magic blue appears. Right. Okay, mate. We got to do some work. It's not to eat. No. I think you've had your breakfast. It looks like it's all over your nose. Come on then, let me do this. Bluey. Come on, move. There's a good boy. Right. Where was I? Yeah, we have a terrible looking bracket. And we got to try and tidy that up a little bit. So yes, I've cut well away from the lines. So we have enough material to mess about with. Right, just having a mess about with it all. I think it's going to look a bit better if I shape the top where I've marked it out. So I'm quickly going to go and do that, and then we'll try it on. Right, that's that trimmed up. I'm happy with that shape now. So what we got to do now, I don't think I'm even going to bother painting it or anything like that. I don't think it's worth it. I still don't know if the bike's going to work. Hey, we'll cross that bridge the end of this week. Right, what I'm going to do there is peel that off, because I'm going to put some on that covers the full surface. And I don't know, do you reckon that really is 3M? Anyway, oh, it's got a hole in it. It's hollow. You can really see the full £3.50 quality. Should we take bets now? What's gonna fall off? Do you reckon the mirror? Because as you can see, it pivots. Do you reckon the mirror's gonna fall out? With all the vibration? We will see. Anyway, I'm going to use some good stuff and cover the full surface. It's dragging a bit. That'll do us. Trim a bit there. Let's see if I can get it in the middle-ish first time. Excuse the back of my head. We'll see how it goes. Well, yeah, I don't think I could get any more tucked up than that. Right. All I can do is try it out. At the end of the day, I can still put a bit of a twist on that bracket if I need to. Or bend it up, bend it down. So we've got that movement in the mirror anyway. How long that will last, I do not know. I was prepared to take the risk of £3.50. And at the minute, it's better not seeing behind you, especially on the road, you know. For those of you who like to pop the odd wheelie and stuff like that, need to check behind you before. And as I'm like a pig, I can't look up or over my shoulder. My neck doesn't do that movement too well. And at the minute, I'm having to stand up on the pegs, twist my whole body to look round, see if we're still being followed by the rest of the lads and stuff. So hopefully that'll work. I'll let you all know how we get on with that, whether it falls off or it's utterly useless or anything like that. So that'll do. The rest of this, I'm not going to know till the end of the week how this goes. One evening, I think the parts will probably here by Thursday. That is it then. If this doesn't work, I'm just throwing the towel in for a bit because it's crucifying me. So I've got everything crossed that it works, and I'm going out Sunday with all the lads to have a bit of time out, which, to be honest, is much needed. It'd be nice just that one day to clear off into the countryside on this bike. Keep them crossed, everybody. Anyway, that'll do. I thought I'd share a little bit with you and let you know how this thing's not going. Not going well. And on with the little bobber now. Cheers for watching, guys. Take care.